welcome to a new episode of the Rebel Radio Podcast.
Hello.
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 We are survivors.
That's right.
We have survived Comicpalooza 2019. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But how's y'all's week's been since I walked a fucking lot of Comicpalooza? My feet still hurt. Mowed the yard last night, so my feet hurt more. That's all I got right now. That's how my week has been. Feet hurting.
You sure you don't want any?
I'm telling you, right?
You could.
And,
whiskey.
you know, but like, I'm not the type that would go get a feet massage. I don't like people touching my feet. That's weird. So
Sprinkle touch your feet.
No, please, dear God. So I'm just going to complain that my feet hurt like hell. How's y'all's week's been?
Not bad.
No, not bad. I feel like, you know, everyone was talking about, oh, my boss scheduled me Monday on accident. And I'm like, my boss tried to call in my work phone, and he thought I was supposed to come back Monday. And I was like, I guess everyone's boss thought that they were supposed to come back the day after Comicpalooza, but no.
No, I worked. I thought I had requested off, but I didn't. That's okay. Monday actually wasn't that bad. I survived.
Yeah, it's always nice to have that day off because, like you said, you walk a lot, you do a lot of things, and it's cool to just take some time to sleep in and do nothing. Yes.
Basically. But when you have kids, like, there's no doing nothing. That's the unfortunate part.
Unfortunately.
But, you know.
Maybe for 5 minutes.
Fortunately, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I would say. But man, Comicpalooza, it was a really good time. It always is. You know, it always, you get towards it, you do a lot of work for it. Get ready for our live show, which is now playing on our website and all apps. So we did the Phantom Menace. There's some audio technical difficulties with it, but I cleaned it up the best I could to release it, so we apologize for that. But now we're back to our regular studio setting.
The curse continues.
Yes.
Yes, we've had, out of 5 years, I think we've had 2 shows that turned out well. The very first one we did
with the Mad Max episode, or was it the one after?
No, because we this is only our second year since we've done a movie base. Since we did Big Trouble in Little China last year. Oh, but that very first year you were with us, where we just kind of talked. We had people come to the table. Then the year we had the 501st one, that was a good episode. Those are the only 2 that came out well. So audio difficulties of Comicpalooza continue.
So the one with Julia was one of our best ones?
No, that one's the one that had audio problems. We had a clicky-clacky in the back.
Oh, that's right.
No, the very first
one...
our
voices came through clear.
Yeah, the very first one was the one where we were on that side table. But, they have big plans for Comicpalooza. Maybe a podcast alley possibly next year, where podcasts can get their own tables and the booth to be at the end. And, that could be fun.
That would be fun.
But it was good, man. I think the show... I think we put on a good show, despite the audio problems. It was fun talking 20 years of Phantom Menace, and I thought it went well. Long, the mic master over there.
Oh,
I had no idea, man. He's like just blurting out on speakers, getting people. We had a little crowd there. We had a few people watching us.
Yeah, and good commentary too.
Yeah, Jason from Walker the Geek was over there talking, and a couple of other guys I did not know, but I appreciate them sitting down listening to the show. Maybe they became fans and are listening now to this. That would be sweet.
That would be cool.
And if they are, they should go on iTunes and leave us a 5-star review.
Yes. Even if it's a bad review, 5 stars.
A 5-star bad review?
Yes. Yeah.
These guys suck, but I'll give them 5 stars.
Yeah, they're so good at sucking. Yeah.
But man, I had a good weekend. We did the show at 2:00. Then I ran upstairs to be on a panel with
which is a sight to see.
With Ming Chen. And,
you did. He did take off.
I had to. With Ming Chen, 3 beers and a mic. Robert from Gentleman No Class, who was on the other panel with us. We'll talk about in a minute.
Fuck me. No.
Ryan Street from I Am Geek, and Erica and Justin. So several people on that panel. And we went in there and they had us in this huge room because I guess we thought there were going to be more people at the panel because Ming was on it. There's like 15 people in there. No mics at all. Turns out, we find out after we're done, the mics were under the table.
No.
Yeah, we didn't know this. But we made the most of it. It was a good panel. We just talked about advanced podcasting, how to get your show going, Twitch streaming, things like that. I played off Ming a lot since he's got a lot of experience, and I kind of semi-moderated that one, so it was kind of fun. And then later that night, man, we did a Battle Royale with Cheese, hosted by I Am Geek.
Yes.
Ryan and Chris. And very gracious of those guys for hosting that and having us on it as we went up against Robert and the guys in Gentleman No Class. And Then Long, his mic skills impressed again.
Oh, yeah.
With his Perry Mason announcer voice.
Yeah.
And
Ironhide.
it was a lot of fun, man. I actually really enjoyed it. I was tired as fuck, but I made the most of it.
I was not the Star Wars expert. I was hoping that you and Matt were the...
You did your job, though.
Yeah. But we had fun. We ended up a tie. And then the idea was you go in this, like a courtroom style where you defend the original trilogy, and the Gentlemen No Class guys had the prequel trilogy. And at the end, the guys from I Am Geek dropped in some cheese, and they got to defend Rogue One, where we got the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's like, holy shit.
Dude, I was like, they were punching with weighted gloves, man.
The Star Wars Holiday Special?
Yes, I have. It's rough to watch, man. It's on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube.
It's one of those things, as a Star Wars fan, you feel obligated to watch at least once.
Yeah.
But then when it's over, you're like, why did I watch this? This is horrible. And but we had a good time, man. I actually enjoyed that. A small crowd in that room for it, and I did feel, that might be the panels, especially the afternoon ones, were going on while Emil Clark was going on and things like that. And so people, some of the smaller panels didn't have as many people they've had in the past. But it is what it is. People choose to go see what they want. And then on Sunday, I moderated a panel with Graham Nolan, the creator of Bane, the Batman villain.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
It went well, man. We had a room of about maybe 10 people, but they were very interactive.
Were you more invigorated?
I was. It was a little easier. Yeah, I was more awake, and Batman's up my alley, and the room was responsive, so it made it easier, and Graham was great. And I did record that. I'm going to release it as a mini episode along with your upcoming Godzilla episodes.
Yeah.
And the Graham Nolan panel came out good, so I'm going to release that for people to hear. I asked Graham. He said that was fine. He had no problem with me recording it. And it went well. We had a good audience to ask some questions and talked a lot of Bane and his legacy. And we talked about his other projects that Graham Nolan does. So it was fun. He was a little negative about the comic industry at times, and it caught me off guard. I was like, okay, next subject. He doesn't like the current state of superhero comics very much, And then, but hey, he works in the business.
What was his biggest beef? Constant reboots, or
just not so much reboots as the too much editorial control.
Oh.
Like he says, they just did this whole thing where they rebooted Bane, kind of called Bane Conquest.
Yeah.
And Tom King, the editor at DC, made it sound like they were going to do more with Bane, then all of a sudden they just lost interest.
Yeah.
No, we're not going to do it. So he just said too much editorial control at DC right now and stuff, so it kind of had him upset. But he talked about some heroes that he would like to draw and things like that. So it's interesting. It's all really set.
He was an artist.
Yeah, he's
not a writer.
No, he's an artist. I mean, he has done some writing.
Oh.
But he worked with Chuck Dixon a lot in the 90s on a lot of Batman books. And I like the way he draws Batman. He draws Batman with the bigger ears, kind of.
Yeah.
Not quite as big as they were in the 70s, but a little bit bigger. I like that style.
So, was it Chuck Dixon who created Bane? Or then Graham Nolan
drew the design of it, and Chuck takes co-credit for creating it because of the character background, stuff like that.
Like Steve Ditko and Stan Lee on Spider-Man.
And Graham Nolan does not he doesn't really have a favorite Batman movie. He says because as a writer who writes Batman, you have this one vision of you, and no movie's ever going to be perfect because it's not the movie you would make, he was saying. But he said, but yet, I'll watch the movies, I just don't really have a favorite. It's kind of an interesting answer to that question.
What an ego.
Yeah. He did seem to have a little bit of an ego.
Yeah.
Like he complained a little bit how he was announced almost 8 months before, and then he just got on the website like 2 weeks before Comicpalooza, so no one knew he was going to be there, and I was just like, oh, I apologize, sir. It's not my department. I didn't know what to say.
Yeah. But, who had a really big ego? Tony Gilroy, who did the script rewrites and reshoots for Rogue One.
Yeah.
That dude was arrogant. He's like going in, I came in and fixed a lot of Gareth Edwards' preconceptions, and I made it better, and it was it was so dry, but I came in with my hand of God and fixed it.
My hand of God.
it was that bad, that pretentious. So
that's funny.
That's why people didn't really talk.
I actually did go to the Emil Clark panel, even though I'm not caught up with Game of Thrones. I was sort of in the traffic of it all, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just go. What the heck? And I watched it.
Yeah, she's so charismatic. Yeah, huh?
It was a good panel. Yeah, it was fun.
Such a good actress.
And and Nathalie, however you say her last name, she was really charismatic too, and man, she's super pretty in person.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. What are some moments you guys took away from Comicpalooza?
Frank did the truffle shuffle.
Don't. That's not a moment. That's a horror.
There's a guy cosplaying as
think I saw
One-Eyed Willie,
Yeah, I think I saw that picture.
and Frank did the truffle shuffle
Goonies?
next to him. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Boy.
There was I told you guys this. There was a cosplayer. He was 18 years old. He said that he was 18 years old, and he had his mom drop him off, and he made this Thanos cosplay that looked pretty good. And he was, I guess, profusely sweating, profusely, like a water boy, would say. But he needed the water, and I brought it to him. He did. He needed water. I had an extra water bottle. I channeled my Billy Madison, Bobby Boucher esque capades, and I gave him water, and he was telling me that everyone wants a picture, and sure enough, there's people corralling like, oh my god, it's Thanos, and then there's people laughing because he's got his head back, and he's laying back in the chair, and they're like, oh, Thanos is tired, and this kid's like, I'm miserable, and I felt so bad for him, but it's his first con, so he's gonna know, hey, it can't be Thanos next time. Maybe I'll be one of those characters from Mystery Men, so no one really notices me. but yeah, he got some water in his system, and he went back, and after he finished listening to one of the podcasts, I think he listened to B-roll or something, a little bit of B-roll, and then he went back and started walking around taking pictures again. So poor kid, man, he got so hot.
And man, I get no props to the air, man. I had to force it at Comicpalooza, man. I got you that cool Punisher thing.
You really did, and I almost forgot.
Jeremy Conway, who Frank went over and I guess helped him out trying to find him when he was going to go to the airport and stuff. Because he watched Frank's table, and he gave Frank a free autograph.
Yep,
that was cool.
Yeah, and that was a really cool surprise, because I was like, it was funny because I had taken the reins on your kiddos. You had some stuff you had to check up on, and man, they were dragging me every direction. First day at a con, saw all kinds of stuff. Luckily, I was able to talk them into some dollar items, so I didn't spend too much on them. And I was like, man. Oh, I feel kind of bummed out. I was like, I just got, ran through the ringer, and then you bring this comic, and I was like, sweet, this is the fruit of my labor.
I have to show you some appreciation for the things you've done for me in the last 14 weeks or so.
It was very nice.
And I did get my X-Men #1 signed by Chris Claremont.
I saw that.
I have Jim Lee on there, now Chris Claremont, and hopefully Scott Lobdell comes in here. The Nerds Anarchy Facebook group is really good about nerds helping nerds. There's a lot of guys on there that go to a lot of cons, so if Scott Lobdell's at another con, I could pass the book on to him and they'll go get it signed for me.
Wow.
So I'm gonna hope I get Lobdell in there and then get it graded, and eventually. So that'd be cool. Long man, you were Comicpalooza just one day,
yeah,
but you hung out with us and got you some Godzilla goodies and
yeah. Well, it was no secret that I was dragging my feet, leading up to Comicpalooza. I was like, oh, I don't want to go.
Oh, man.
Not just that. I had a number of reasons, too. It's like, I don't want to go to downtown. I don't want to drive to downtown. I don't want to deal with all the bums. George R. Martin. I don't want to get con gunk or con flu. Yeah, from randos who don't bathe. And I'm like, oh, and I don't even have any money to spend, and I'm like, but then I saw a live mic. That's when things changed.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I got hustled on the way in too by some local rap artist. And
really?
Yeah, he wanted $10 for one of his lame, I don't know what you call that, slam.
Oh, you've been dropping that shit in your player every day.
It's like, man, go on YouTube, man. YouTube.
Yeah.
Look me up.
Like, here. He's like, I got a PayPal account. You ready to pay? And I was like, here's $5. I'll support the local artist. Here, man, just $5? It's like, $5. That's all I'm going to give you. I got an appointment to keep, So, it was like, come on. I got to go. And so I'm like, geez. I was like, only like 10, 15 minutes towards, almost. I was there? Yeah. 10 minutes before we had to show up. And, but then it was like, oh, okay, this is a great start. And then I met you guys over at the deal, our staging area for the podcast.
Podcast booth,
Yeah, and then I realized there was a live mic.
Yeah.
And then I got on that mic and started...
DJ Evil Dr. Tran.
Yeah, basically, I just say, in the next 10 minutes, we'll be doing a retrospective on the 20th anniversary of the Phantom Menace. Kind of similar to that cadence.
Yeah.
And I said, and if you're dealing with the homeless people on your way to your car, remember, tell them you don't speak English. Now, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, Mexican. Just tell them you don't speak English. They'll leave you alone. And I was like, hopefully none of the officials heard that.
Right.
I tapped him and I was like, Long, stop talking about the box.
I was like, what? Oh, okay.
These police walk by, they're probably like, yeah, keep talking about it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, 10 more minutes, retrospective. Believe me, we won't be ironic about it, and I promise you, we won't sell you any ShamWow.
ShamWow.
They do that at,
Right.
traders' villages, some dude on the counter, and they start selling, as seen on TV products.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one guy in the crowd that really you could tell, like, he really wanted to argue that the Disney Star Wars sucks. Like,
yeah,
he kept, like, you could see his mouth wanting to move, and I just kept the conversation moving. Like, nope, not doing that.
Yeah,
nope, we're not doing it.
Yeah,
not gonna have multiple conversations.
And then later on that night, you mentioned earlier the Battle Royale trivia. It was original trilogy, which was our position, versus the prequel trilogy, and the goal was to see which one was the superior trilogy. And I was like, man, dude, this is like. It's like,
slam dunk.
Yeah, no, it's like kicking a kid in a wheelchair or something.
Right.
I'm like, I don't mean that. Of course.
Right.
And I'm like,
that's okay. We've had a Schindler's List joke in the
I
show
think-
before.
Yes.
We're done.
I think we went to. I was surprised though. I was hoping that you and Matt were going to be the mains,
Right.
The main dudes, because I was a Trekkie.
It was pretty much a joint effort, but you had carried most of it, I want to say.
Yeah.
I want to say Long was definitely 40%, and then me and Mark were like 30.
Yeah.
30. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I went to the jugular a couple of times.
You
For the
did.
cheese.
Yeah, man. You went for the head.
Yeah. And then I did I said, I'm sorry, but we have the high ground. Every Star Wars fan gets that.
Yes.
It's like, and it was like, we know, my favorite point was, well, at least watching our trilogy, people won't know where it's going.
Right. Yeah.
But the other guy, he was just laying out whatever. That doesn't really address what
the graphics and the choreography and the special effects.
Hubris.
And then you're like, yeah, but ours is better. And he's like, yeah, but the graphics and the...
I had never met Robert and the Gentleman No Class guys until the other day, and they were nice guys. I had met
Rob's cool.
I had met Ryan and I Am the Geek guys before, but
he was doing a lot of trying to deflect the topic.
Yeah.
He didn't really address the points that I brought up. But
and I didn't have a chance to really go for the jugular, kind of like you, until he flipped it back to me. And he's like, what were you saying about the script? And I said, well, I'm mainly pertaining to the second film in the trilogy, the one that every other sequel is graded against, because people say it's the next Empire Strikes Back, but I don't ever hear them say it's the next Attack of the Clones.
Right.
That's what you don't want to be.
That's actually really good. But did you bring up the greatest movie twist of all time? Was that you? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the greatest movie twist of all time on a lot of lists.
Yeah. Still is.
Yeah.
Still
And
is.
we're talking even Filthy Casuals list.
Right.
Yes.
That's not part of any fandom.
Yeah, for sure.
The normies even rated.
The normies.
Yeah. But overall, I mean, I think Comicpalooza, I have a few shout-outs I have to give, being that I was the co-coordinator for the podcast program this year. Oh, yeah, definitely Frank, man.
Frank did help out.
Frank, he may not be a host on the show anymore, but he's always been a big supporter of our show, and he's always been a big help. Frank will 100% throw down Rebel Radio for us and support us. And I can't ever thank him enough. His Aunt Pat, who was a volunteer in the podcast program, Jad, he was one of our volunteers. And there's just all the podcasters, Clint at Rawcast, Brandon and Randy at Cult 45, Heather and Elizabeth at Nerdy Bitches, Craig and Alan at Matinee Heroes,
Rob,
Random Rob, Rambling to Rob,
Brandon from Cult 45.
Brandon with Cult 45.
Yeah.
Keisha, her show.
Yeah, okay,
I'm telling you, I don't know
Libra
everyone.
Lounge.
Yeah, Libra Lounge. I don't know all these people, but I know some of them. And but all the podcasters did great. Everyone showed up except for one show, which was phenomenal. Last year there were a lot of shows that didn't show up. Shout out to Rob Zip at Most Epic Ventures. He hooked me up with a free T-shirt and some stuff. So
nice.
Thanks to him. So overall, I think it's a very successful podcast program for sure. It's something that Comicpalooza and a shout out to Carrie, man. Carrie Gordon, the Metal
Carrie,
man who is the social media coordinator for Comicpalooza. He actually works for them, and he brought me in and trusted me and Erica to run this program for him. And I think this might be our best. I honestly think, I'm not tooting my own horn, but I think this is our best podcast.
Whose idea was
it
to put the speakers and the
we asked for that this year, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because in the past it's just been a table, everybody's brought their own equipment. So this year we asked for audio equipment, and it was supposed to be more. It was supposed to be able to line into the mixer a lot easier, but hopefully next year they fix that problem. The podcast program is something they started 5 years ago, and Carrie feels very strongly about, and we have the support from Ming Chen of AMC's Comic Book Men behind it. So I think Ming will continue, especially with his studio, A Shared Universe. Maybe he'll come in and do some more with the podcast program himself.
Yeah. What's the feedback like from the others about the setup? Any feedback?
I haven't heard anything specific so far, but everyone seemed to like it. I mean, I got that vibe when podcasters were down. They were like, "Oh, cool, we got speakers."
Yeah. When I walked there, I was like, "Whoa, dang, this is quite an upgrade."
Yeah.
Not just a fold-out poker table. We were talking. No, it wasn't a poker table.
Yeah,
it was a picnic table.
My only thing is, I think if you were to do a podcast alley, instead of putting it right in between the artists and stuff, I would like to maybe either on the end between the celebrities and the artists, or between the toys being sold in the Maker Smart area.
Yeah.
Because I think if you're going to do that, you want to put it maybe closer to celebrity area, more of a traffic area or something. But I think that's a great idea if they do that in the future.
I felt that we had a lot of people.
But there is good
by.
traffic right there too. Yeah. So but overall, a highly successful Comicpalooza. Next year it moves back to Memorial Weekend. Next year, so that's probably
It always flip flops, right?
Well,
Mother's Day, Memorial Day, Mother's Day.
The convention center is booked, years in advance, and sometimes it just doesn't work out that they get the same weekends every year. But ideally, Comicpalooza would like to be Memorial Day every weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this was the second time they had Mother's Day, and that one year they had it in June. I actually really liked it that year they had it in June. I felt the attendance was good, school was out. It just felt easier to get off work than Memorial Day or Mother's Day weekend, because in June nobody cares. Everybody's on vacation anyway.
Yep.
So, we'll see where they go in the future of Comicpalooza. CP 2020 next year. So, today's show. Download this.
We don't have to hear about it for the rest of the year, right?
No. Well, no, not right now.
We're done plugging. No. We're done. We've done our obligation. No, I'm joking.
And,
Fuck me. No, I'm joking.
But, no. Not for a while, unless there's some big announcement. That'd be about it.
Yeah.
Go watch Godzilla.
But download this, man. I fucking slacked. I haven't watched shit this week. Did you guys watch anything? Check anything out?
Yeah, I did. First up, Game of Thrones. The penultimate episode, the second to last episode. It was a very, very well shot battle scene / massacre, and. Man, I can't wait for you to reach that point, because there's been very strong opinions.
I've seen some opinions on the internet.
Yeah.
People seem to
Did you
either
get
really
spoiled
love it
by
or
them?
hate. I mean, some of it, but I mean, I'm to the point. If I get spoiled, I'm not so hardcore if I see some spoilers. It just seems like people either love it or they hate it.
Yeah. So season 6 was 10 episodes. Season 7 was 8 episodes. This final season is 6 episodes.
All right.
And you could tell that a lot of progression was sacrificed just so that the showrunners can move on to Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then but hats off to Emilia Clarke. She acted her butt off for what she was given, and man, it's quite an achievement despite the character decision.
Yeah.
So
Well, I've read that based on that character decision, people feel that it's out of character. But I was reading though, they said if you really pay attention to her character, the things she's done over the 8 or 9 years of the show, that is it really so much out of character that it's been there the whole time, that it becomes a conscious thing that you watch this and you end up you believe in this character and you get attached to her even if she's evil in a way. Right? It's just it's a conscious thing within your own human mind that you get attached to this character and you forget that character could be that evil.
Yeah.
And that's the sign to me of a great villain.
Yeah.
You know, that if you can get attached to a villain that way, then you're like, wait, holy shit, they actually did that?
Yeah.
You
It's still better than the Anakin downfall.
Right.
Yeah.
To be honest. But you know, I don't mind that.
Yeah.
It's the progression towards it.
Yeah.
It felt rushed.
Yeah.
I know where it was going, but it still felt like it needed 1 or 2 more episodes for it to breathe.
Right.
That's the first thing I watched. The second thing I watched was John Wick 3.
Oh.
I saw John Wick 3 last night right after work. Yes, I sat in my uniform. Like I'm sitting in my uniform doing this podcast, but, you know, I had obligations. Anyways, go see
clothes
it.
On, man.
Yeah, go see it. It felt like it had more action than Part 2 did.
Really? And Part 2's loaded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part 3 was really good.
Yeah.
It felt like it was more violent.
It's been a phenomenal series so far.
It's so consistent.
Yeah.
I can't believe Keanu Reeves is in this
It's like
mid
54, 55. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in
It's
his
a
mid.
big resurgence for him.
Yeah. Resurgence or just solid stability.
Yeah, I think solid split. I don't think Keanu ever really went anywhere.
No.
He was making movies even after
47 Ronin,
Yeah.
But that might
Man
be
of Tai Chi,
47 Ronin might be his biggest misfire, but he was doing a lot of romantic films and stuff. He was always around.
Lake House.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
He
was
was just
always
doing
around.
stuff he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But no, if you guys haven't seen it, go watch it. I want to hear your
I
opinions
plan on
on it
seeing
next
it
week.
for sure.
So, but John Wick 3 was satisfying. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that. And no, I'll tell you this: it didn't close anything as far as storyline.
Yeah, I've heard it's kind of left open again.
It's left open. Yeah. So, but Halle Berry was awesome in it too.
I saw her like the training that she
Makes me
did
thirsty.
to get her shooting right, and they were just like, yeah, the shooting, the range officers were like, holy crap, you know, you're really good, and it's cool to see that, man, these people could do it for real if they wanted to. Yeah.
Not only that though, but just watch the movie.
Just watch the movie.
I want to hear your opinions on it. So that's my download this.
Okay. I'd never seen Aquaman.
Oh,
really? You never saw him there? That's right.
Yeah, I watched it. I watched it Monday.
What'd you think?
I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it too.
I like it because it is kind of so crazy.
Yeah.
It's not afraid to be a comic book movie.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I like. I realize
it's unapologetic.
Yes.
I'm like, holy crap, Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the moments like where he looks at the screen, it's like, call me Black Manta. It's so ridiculously cheesy.
Yes.
But the movie's not afraid to
And
be
he
cheesy.
looks
It
like
works.
Black Manta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like Black
Yeah.
Manta. The costume.
I was wondering how he was gonna look like Black Manta, and then it shows him messing with the tech, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
It's like great underwater universe too.
yeah,
And they have crab people.
crab
It's got a
people,
fucking
yeah.
octopus playing drums. I mean, how badass is that? You know?
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
that's almost-
it is Warner Brothers, you
That's
know.
almost as cool as the guy playing guitar in Mad Max. you know?
Yes,
Fucking
friggin'
octopus
epic.
playing drums,
They're
yeah.
like, oh yeah, you've got some Slipknot dude playing guitar. We're gonna top that with an octopus.
You know who the voice was of the Kraken, right? Oh, the Gorgon.
No,
It was Julie Andrews.
really?
Yeah.
The real Kraken?
Mary freaking Poppins. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Was that what it was called? The Gorgon? Or
Yeah,
the
some
Kraken?
name like that.
Yeah.
Or is it the Leviathan?
I don't know. Kraken's class.
Lobotomy?
Leviathan.
Oh,
Boy.
You
But-
know, this is a lightweight here. You let him have a shot of whiskey.
Yeah.
This is a lightweight city right here.
no, I just get gas.
You're
No.
lightweight. It's okay.
Okay.
Known you for years, dog.
Sometimes I show my Irish side.
What? 1% Irish?
Yeah, like the 1% Irish, where I have a drink and I challenge you to fisticuffs.
Oh, shit.
Like
So,
this.
Yes,
Like this?
yes, like in Gangs of New York. Where the have at thee,
What do they call that? The
where you curl your fist inward and you kind of rotate like it's the.
What do they call that?
bare knuckle boxing?
No, it wasn't bare knuckle. It was Tashberry rules or something. It's some old timey type name for it. You know. So, anyways.
But yeah, very
what'd you
fun,
think?
very fun. The wife, of course, loved it
How would you grade it?
because
Jason Momoa was shirtless.
yeah, because it's Jason Momoa and he's shirtless.
I bet you got some.
I would say, no, I did not. I would say because it's so fun, I'd probably give it a solid A, man. It was a lot of fun. Like you said, it's not afraid to be daring and to crack a few jokes at itself, and you don't even notice it because it's such a blast.
Ocean Master was fun.
It's got a little bit of heart to it too.
Call me Ocean Master.
Yeah, and yeah, no, and DC did a good job between Wonder Woman and Aquaman. A couple really good, solid movies in there. And hopefully, unfortunately, they don't have anything coming out this year. So, what the hell was that?
That was you.
The androids upgraded and they put this text sound on there.
I was like, something came from Matt's butt.
They changed that sound too?
Yeah, it's the messenger.
I have the same exact sound.
Someone probably sent me a video of like a dog or something.
But
it's your wife. Hey, look at this.
But yeah,
it was my wife, but she sent me some.
Let me see.
When Bae tells you to lose the attitude, that's what I got.
Shazam. I guess we did have Shazam this year. So DC doesn't have
Shazam.
So DC has nothing now until Wonder Woman 84 next year.
Yeah.
So
Joker.
Oh, Joker.
October.
Yep.
Yeah.
Joker October.
But that's not part of their. Are they still doing? They're sort of still doing the universe thing, I guess.
No, it still has the DC.
Yeah, it's
logo
a DC logo on it. Yeah, I'm still not sure how I feel about
it's
that
just
movie.
all just Elseworlds, really.
Yeah, basically.
Dude, the last battle scene of Aquaman.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? They throw everything but the kitchen sink in there. Seahorses, sharks, crab, crab
all
people,
kinds of shit.
The
Sharks
giant
with,
Leviathan.
Sharks with freaking lasers.
I called it too. You know the windmill technique that not Nemo, Defoe's character shows Aquaman whenever he's a kid. Whenever the guy who played Owlman, I forget his character's name. He played Owlman, the Ocean Master. Whenever he gets knocked back and then Aquaman's just standing there, and I told Jackie, I said he's going to do the windmill technique, isn't he? I said it's going to come full circle, and
back in a movie.
And then I was like, I knew, but I didn't care that it was I predicted it. Like, I think you see enough movies similar, you kind of get that feeling.
It's gotten to the point with films that most movies are, kind
of like Marvel. You can predict a lot of Marvel movies, but you still enjoy it, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. It was great.
Like someone brought up Warrior in the conversation the other day. A really great movie with Tom Hardy.
Yeah, Tom Hardy.
And the same actor, isn't it? Joel Egerton? No. He's in Watchmen, though, the actor that's in Warrior.
Patrick Wilson?
Yeah, no, not Patrick Wilson. Yeah. Joel Egerton. Isn't he in? Patrick Wilson's in Watchmen.
Joel Egerton is not in there.
He's not in Watchmen?
No.
But Joel Egerton is in Warrior. And Warrior's predictable as fuck. The two brothers are going to fight at the end of the movie. But it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
The movie's so awesome at the end of it. So sometimes it's okay to be predictable as long as the payoff is worth it all. And that's what
I'm one and done for Aquaman.
One and done, really?
Yeah. Maybe
I want to rewatch it. I just haven't yet.
Maybe I was so amazed by the whatever, I'll do what I want attitude about it, and I saw everything I could ever wanted. But maybe not. I love anything that's set in the ocean. The Abyss is always rewatchable. That's one.
Yeah.
So, but no, I need to pick it up.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys watched some stuff. I did. It's funny. I attempted. I guess they put YouTube now. You can watch their TV shows with commercials. Apparently it's already started. So I was going to sit down last night and watch Cobra Kai and start watching it, but YouTube was not wanting to connect. I don't know if it was maintenance last night or something. So I gave up. So I slacked this week. I didn't watch anything. Nice. At least y'all did.
Yes.
So let's get into today's featured movie, man.
Yes.
A really good movie, actually. I had not watched this in a long time, and that is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I remember. I don't remember the first time I saw this. Like, I may have seen it in theaters. It was 1988 it came out, so I might have seen. I was 12, 13 years old. I might have seen it on video for the first time. But this is one of those. It's funny how a lot of movies in the 80s and early 90s you remember seeing a lot because they aired on HBO or they aired on UPN or Fox Saturday matinees. And there seems to be a lot of movies from that era that you saw several times, and that's what this is for me. Roger Rabbit, I remember seeing it a lot, seeing bits and parts of it, but I remember seeing the whole thing too. And I hadn't watched it in quite a while. I had actually bought the 25th anniversary Blu-ray probably 6 months ago. Never sat down to watch my copy of it until the other night, and man, it holds up actually really well. Some of the animations start to look dated, But the film itself is very well done. When was the first time you guys remember seeing Roger Rabbit?
I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that PG-13 meant PG-13 back then, and I remember watching it on VHS for the first time with my mom, and all of the Jessica Rabbit scenes made things so awkward to watch that movie with, because Eddie kept bumping into her boobs and all that.
Yeah, he hits her. He hits her boobs on the way up.
There's even a booby trap joke in the movie.
Yes, booby trap.
I'm like, oh gosh, and I'm watching this with my mom, and I'm like, no, that's kind of awkward, but she didn't say much of anything.
Hey, it's not her fault. She was drawn that way.
Yeah, but man, it's a very fun movie. I didn't really understand it as much, and then as you grow older, you understand it more and more.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets better with time.
That's a good point.
I saw it when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
So I didn't really
Same
know.
here.
Yeah.
You just thought it was a kind of a goofy kids movie with cartoon characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why is she making those funny sounds playing patty cake?
Right.
I'm like, okay. So
Patty
they
cake,
were
patty
literally
cake, patty
playing
cake.
patty cake, and she was
Yeah.
getting off on it. So, does that mean Jessica Rabbit's a furry? It's like, is she into that stuff? So, anyways.
Matt, it's always interesting to hear when you've seen some of these movies the first time when they came out around the time you were born.
Yeah. Yeah, I was only 2, so of course never saw this. This did come out the same time Jackie, the same year Jackie was born. So this movie is just as old as she is. And, I didn't see this movie until probably like 98. Maybe between 96 and 98 at daycare, at kindercare, because we had some people that did not care much. In fact, whenever I was 12, this woman showed us a picture of showed us her butt. This is me and another boy. We were like 13. It was, we were like 12 or 13. And she showed us her ass because it had a tattoo of Felix the cat on one cheek. And that's why I'm an ass man.
There's a law against that.
Yeah.
Even that
Yeah.
day and age.
Sometimes you just didn't talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indecent exposure to a child.
Yeah.
That was just like, wow, a butt.
Yes. And that's all I care.
So did,
Yeah.
like, in person?
Yes, in person. She's like, yeah, I got my tattoo. And she pulled down, like, you see half her crack and then just the other side of her butt.
That's first time.
Yeah. So I remember the other kid's name, too. It was Thomas.
Yeah.
Me and Thomas, we saw her cheek. And Felix the
The
cat.
things you never
Let me
forget.
call the FBI.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
The female body inspectors?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, and I just remember Jessica Rabbit. I just remember that voluptuous
We all
cartoon
remember
character that
Jessica Rabbit.
was the gateway drug into hentai for everybody. And I remember Eddie Valiant drinking all the time, and I just remember him saying, "Scotch on the rocks. Scotch on the rocks." And I always, when I grew up, I was like, I want to have that. I want to have scotch on the rocks. That sounds cool. And, it's, I remember seeing liquor for the first time. That's what made me curious. And I tried my dad's Jack Daniels, and I had to spit it out. I was like 14, and I was like, ugh, this is nasty. Now I'm like, this is great. But
It's funny. I forgot how much he actually does drink in this
a
movie.
lot. He's even licking his fingers. He gets liquor on his fingers, and he's got to lick it up. And that's how much he loves it.
Yeah.
And it's like he's sitting getting the slip, his payment slip from RK Maroon, and he sees a bottle of liquor.
He has to have a drink.
And he has to have a drink. He's like, go ahead, help yourself, Eddie.
Bob Hoskins, that's testament to his fantastic acting skills.
Yeah.
And I was so shocked to find out that he was a British actor.
Mm-hmm.
He had such a great Eastern accent. And they didn't really specify it was New York, or it was just somewhere on the East board.
Yeah,
Or
we're
San
assuming it's in
Francisco.
Hollywood because of
Hollywood, right,
yeah.
right, yeah.
And you said something that PG-13 means PG-13. Having not watched it in a while, you do definitely view it differently as an adult. And like I was like, wow, they got away with quite a bit in this movie.
Yeah.
The movie is essentially geared towards kids, and they don't ever show anything unofficially based on myth. We'll talk about the myths of this movie later, but yet there's so much innuendo in this, and I was like, wow, and it's really dark too. It's film noir,
Yeah.
so it's definitely influenced, but it's like really kind of dark and talks a lot about death and murder and killing Toons and affairs, and I'm like, wow, it's. You didn't notice when you're 12 or 13 years old watching this movie. You're like, you don't pick up on that at all.
Yeah.
You notice the animation, the cartoons.
Based on the book, right?
Yeah, it's based on a series of 2 or 3 books.
Who censored Robert Rabbit?
And you don't pick up on any of that as a kid. You're just seeing the animation and the fun of the movie. As an adult, you pick up very much so on all the dark undertones and the maturity of the film. You know, and that's the first thing I noticed rewatching it the other night is how dark the movie was. I'm like, wow. I remember being dark as a kid when Christopher Lloyd's judge character gets killed at the end.
Yeah.
I always remember being kind of scared as a kid. It's kind of freaky. The noises he's making is really kind of like a
in
really evil death.
Yeah. Remember me, Eddie?
And Christopher Lloyd is very good in the movie. He plays it sinister to a T. He has a lot of fun with the role.
He was very dry.
He never blinks when he's not wearing his sunglasses. Right. I didn't know that.
Such a different character from Doc Brown. You know, who's silly and zany and kind of nuts, and this is a really serious, dry, just dark character.
It was almost Tim Curry, but they said that he was so
too sinister.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder how he would have looked like that.
Yeah, there were actually 3 movies that formulated my late childhood years, and it was Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which I watched over and over, and then there was The Naked Gun, which I watched over and over, and then Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Nice.
I think they were recorded all on one VHS, so I used to watch that VHS all the time. Yeah.
Well, it should be one of your most memorable movies because it was the most expensive movie.
Yeah.
$70 million for an '80s film.
Yeah. Did it ever made its money back? Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, the way they collaborated to get everybody in, and they almost had Superman. They just couldn't wait for the rights. And they got a picture of Felix the Cat, and of course Warner Brothers, Universal, and Avery, and
Disney.
Yeah. And they said that
this movie made its money. This was a huge hit overseas and across the board. Yeah, it definitely made its money on playback, and they paid so much. They paid so much money to Disney though that anytime a Disney character is on screen, they're on screen exactly the same amount of time as the Warner Brothers characters because of the cost and the rights of it all.
Oh wow!
Because it's Disney produced the film and released it under Touchstone Pictures, but Warner Brothers supplied a lot of the animation techniques and things like that. So it's interesting how they collaborated, which was even in the 80s that was unheard of for studios to work together. Now we're seeing that with Sony allowing them to use Spider-Man for the Marvel films. So back then, no, you didn't work together. But originally there were a lot more plans. There were supposed to be a lot more Disney characters in the movie and other things, but they were only able to use so much. You know.
It was interesting how they, I had to research how they got the animation right, and how they timed it with glasses breaking, plates breaking, shadows, and everything. And I guess they made automated machines that broke the plates, and then they just put the animation over it. So before CGI, this is what we had. We had illustration.
Yeah.
And speaking about illustrations, the dip, I guess it's
a mixture of paint thinners.
Yes, all paint thinners. I didn't notice because I heard what he was saying, acetone, benzene, and I'm like, okay, cool. I picked up on the words that he was saying, but what does it mean? And I saw that on the trivia. That was pretty cool.
How about but it was Disney that did all the animation.
It looks like it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think Disney was the main animator.
Maybe so. Yeah.
And Warner's just gave them the rights to do it.
Maybe Warner helps with the dialect. I didn't look into that, but a lot of the characters are like Warner Avery kind of style.
Yeah.
It's a shame that there was no Tom and Jerry in there.
No.
Yeah, the movie was made by Disney and Warner Brothers, only allowing them to use their biggest Toon stars.
Yeah.
But they shared.
Yeah.
Equal screen time.
Yeah. Yeah, they were very, very adamant that Donald and Daffy and Mickey and Bugs all had equal share time.
Right.
And not one or the other could dominate could win, in the match. So I'm like, well, that's some legal wrangling.
Yeah. Man, Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
That's it was funny because whenever a sex scene comes on and you're
not a Betty Boop fan,
and you're I do like Betty Boop, especially since it's the original voice who voiced the character from 1930 1939.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and you know, you have that awkward. You said you watch the movie with your mom in the room, and there's that awkward stare where you're like, I'm not looking at the screen, but I'm kind of looking, but I'm looking at you to let you know that I'm not looking, but I'm looking back so I can see what's going on. And I had one of those moments with my wife, and I'm like, what? She's like, I see you. It's like, it's a cartoon. She's not real. And she's like, yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's that appropriate. I was like, it's not her fault. She's drawn that way, Jacqueline.
Funny, watch it now I'm older, I find it less inappropriate because I view it as an adult now. I remember as a kid thinking the same thing, like, wow, that's, you know, even as a teenager, like, that's a really sexy cartoon.
Yes.
But I think as an adult, though, your mind looks at it differently. You realize, well, she's drawn really sexy, but you know now that it's fake. You know, it's not quite the same horniness that you might have when you were 15 and 16 years old. Yeah. And then, so, yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
And it's funny how they animated her. They made her boobs go upwards instead of downwards, like they animated her backwards. And she sways her ass, like, a lot. I notice it. I'm like, man, you remind me of those random Instagram videos where girls are trying to get followers and stuff and sell their tea and waist trainers.
So you're saying Jessica Rabbit could have been an influencer?
Yes, she could have been. For a lot of these women, especially that one woman that had her, like, ribs. There was a woman that had her ribs surgically removed so she could look like Jessica Rabbit. I forget her name, but I came across it, and she's literally got like no waist because she removed 2 ribs on each side and then cinched everything.
Oh, Jesus.
That can't be healthy.
No.
But it's like it's crazy, you know, the influence that this cartoon had on women. Like, oh, I've got to look like this.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you don't. Yeah, that's exactly right.
I think it makes you look way too awkward in real life. It's a good concept.
Yeah.
You know, the animator was told to make his dream woman, and he said that this is more risque than his dream woman. I saw the cartoon that Red Hot Riding Hood was based off of, and she's way less voluptuous. Still sexy, but not nearly as voluptuous and wavy as Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah.
And risque. Very throwback to the noir.
Well, you know, this movie has had some, you know, because of Jessica Rabbit, has had some controversy. There's rumors of the Laserdisc version when the car wrecks at the end and she flies, her legs come open. There's rumors of nudity there that you can see her vagina.
Yeah.
Apparently it's been... You don't see it on newer versions, but apparently in older versions it's there.
Yeah.
I'm sure, Matt, you probably looked it up.
I did because... There was
to me, it just looks like a blur when I've seen it.
There was a magazine that used to come out about freeze framing movies in certain points and seeing certain things, and I remember seeing it in the grocery checkout whenever I was, you know, my mom was shopping, and it came out like years and years later. This is whenever the magazine came out. I forget what the name of it was, but it had it listed on there, and I remembered from back then, so I looked it up, of course, and you can kind of see it.
Yeah. I'm dying on us today, man.
I am. And
then, like, well, Disney was notorious in the 50s and 60s for putting, like, I mean, there's proof of it. Playboy magazine covers in the backgrounds and things like that. You know, and so why would it maybe not be any different in the 80s if they might have done some things? Like, apparently at the beginning of the movie, when the little opening cartoon and the baby walks under, it happens so quick, I don't see it, but apparently the baby points his finger up when he goes under the dress, and when he comes out, his finger's wet.
I don't know
if I buy into that. You know, it's like, come on. There's been rumors of a animated scene that the animators had some fun, and they actually animated Jessica Rabbit nude in one scene, but they threw it away. And apparently the file may exist out there somewhere. They did it as a joke, you know, where she walks through a scene, never intended for release, you know. So there's been some controversy behind the scenes of this movie.
Like a pencil flip sketch or something.
Yeah, things like that. There was another scene in there too called Daffy Duck and Donald Duck that apparently people think that Donald calls Daffy a nigger.
Oh.
And not that we normally would use that word on the podcast, but that's the best way to set the example.
Yeah.
And, you know, but he does it. He tells him something like "you're despicable" or something like that, and it comes out. And when you listen to it in speed motion, it does sound like, wait, did he just say the N-word?
Yeah.
But you realize it's an animated character, and that's not what he's saying. So the movie did have its sense of controversy, along with Jessica being drawn very voluptuous and very, very overly sexualized in a lot of ways. You know, could you imagine if a cartoon like came out like this now? I mean,
They do.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm talking like for mass audiences.
Oh, yeah.
PG-13
But
film.
This would never
looking
happen
back on
now.
it, is it necessary though? Looking back, is that really a
Yes.
necessary thing?
Yes, it's necessary.
Well, no, I mean, based on today's times, especially right now with everything going on in the government and looking at women's rights and stuff, there's no way you could do a movie like this now.
No.
Even as an animated character, it wouldn't work. They would say, oh, she's overly sexualized, and, they would turn it into a political shitfest and make it, that not good for women.
Yeah, you'd have to have it come out of Funimation and make her like Lady Tsunade.
Well, yeah, because for some reason anime gets a pass, which doesn't make sense to me, but it's just, I guess, the way
foreign.
it is.
Foreign.
But, there's been rumors of a Roger Rabbit sequel for years. Robert Zemeckis still has a script on board. They started writing a script as early as 1990 with J.J. Abrams actually writing the first script. And the original script that J.J. had was more of a direct sequel. Then apparently the movie that Zemeckis has on board could be a prequel where Roger tells how he meets Jessica and how he searches for his father, who is apparently Bugs Bunny. Zemeckis said that up until a few years ago he wanted to do it, but now it seems like that the studios have lost interest. And he also said that it feels like the time has passed because they want to do it traditional animation just like the original, but the studios don't want that now. They want CGI. They don't want anything to be traditional anymore.
Is Space Jam going to be CGI?
I'm wondering that.
Space Jam.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah.
Is it going to be with LeBron?
Yeah, apparently so.
Wow.
Yeah, it's already confirmed. They're ready to go.
But one thing I always found interesting though is that Disney didn't do more with the Roger Rabbit character. They did a few shorts and stuff, but I always felt like they did there was a really good video game on the Nintendo for this, where you actually went to Toontown and stuff, I remember. But I always felt that Roger Rabbit was a cool enough character that he could have been as big as any other Disney character. But Disney just sort of, despite the success of the movie, Disney sort of just brushed him to the side. He kind of became a forgotten character in a lot of ways in Disney's archives. Like, he'll show up in video games now and then, and he'll show up in comic books, but they never really did a lot more with him. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like this was a character. It's interesting how certain things that are highly successful don't always get marketed as well. Like, Indiana Jones is hugely successful, but it's never been big merchandising-wise. Mm-hmm. The same with a thing, like, you're a big Ghostbusters fan. Ghostbusters is hugely successful, but marketing-wise, it's not one of the bigger things. You have some toys that are out there that are worth some money and stuff, but you would think that
Sony doesn't know how to do
that.
it.
Yeah, it's interesting how some franchises are like that. And Roger Rabbit seems like it would have been such a huge success for Disney, but they never really marketed the character properly.
I feel like maybe there's a good reason, and it's because really they feel like Roger Rabbit. That's more Warner Brothers thing. You know, so why?
Even though Disney put out the movie,
right? I mean, so why try to replicate another famous bunny when that's really Warner Brothers' wheelhouse with Bugs? And I think I can kind of see why they don't really pursue it. I mean, they have released short films. Like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids had a Roger Rabbit short film.
You can watch all the shorts on the Blu-ray. They're on there. But I think overall, legacy of Roger Rabbit, I think is it might be one of the last great movies from the golden age of animation, if you think about it that way. Coming out of the 50s, 60s, 70s, even the 80s. And then this movie helped Disney go back to standard animation. Because of Roger Rabbit, they were like, wow, there's a market for this. And they went on to make The Little Mermaid, The Lion King, Aladdin. All that came because of this movie. Because they saw the success of it.
The best thing that they had done at the time was The Rescuers. And then, what was left for them if this didn't work? So it was a good thing that it did come together.
To bring back their animation studio and start a new era of animation. Because a lot of people will argue that 1991, when The Little Mermaid came out, is the new renaissance of animation, and that Roger Rabbit might be the last of the golden age. But any other thoughts you guys have on Roger Rabbit?
No, I think it's really good. It's a classic. I think you have to watch it. Is it one of those 10 movies you bring with you on an island? I don't know. Maybe it is for you, but I think it's a movie you've got to see before you die.
I'll just leave with this as a final thought on Roger Rabbit.
Uh-oh.
Smile, darn ya, smile. This old world is a great world after all. Smile, darn ya, smile. And right away watch Lady Luck pay you a call. Things are never black as they are painted. Time for you and Joy to get acquainted. Make life worthwhile. Come on and smile, darn ya, smile. Thank you.
Thank you. Long.
And on that note, on to the news.
On to the
I can't top
news.
that one.
I'll drink to that.
I didn't watch it, so I made it up.
So we possibly... There's been a lot of reports in the last couple of days. That was awesome.
That was awesome.
I don't...
I didn't know.
I can't follow this up, man. I'm lost here.
It was like pulling a rabbit out of a hat.
Oh,
Is he or is he not? Is Robert Pattinson the new Batman? Warner Brothers still hasn't came out and said. Every trade is reporting it. The internet has lost their fucking minds over it.
Sparkly Batman.
That much backlash, personally.
Shit, it's out there. Trust me.
Yeah, it's out there.
Mostly from fans, though. You know, my thing is with this. Okay, yes, he made Twilight, but this is a movie that's geared towards teenage girls. That was made 10 years ago. I haven't followed the guy's career, but I did go do a little bit of reading. Critically, he's been pretty successful since Twilight. Critics seem to like him. He seems to have moved on. He's done some darker roles. Maybe he's not who we might pick for Batman and Bruce Wayne, but you know, if you look at what Matt Reeves is saying, it's going to be a film noir style, detective style Batman film.
Yeah.
I trust in Reeves. His Planet of the Apes films are so good. I buy that he's not going to cast someone that he doesn't believe can pull off the role. Mm-hmm. And I'm never going to knock an actor ever because, you know, we're not doing it, you know.
Look at Keaton.
Yeah, look at Keaton. Look at Heath as the Joker. So I'm willing to give Robert a chance.
Hemsworth.
Yeah. I'm willing to... Robert Downey Jr. was not... He was controversial in 2007.
Yeah, they paid him nothing.
When he got picked for Iron Man.
Yeah.
People were like, what, the old drunk guy, you know? I mean, and look what Robert Downey Jr. has done. So I'm willing to give Pattinson a chance to see what he does. There's still conflicting rumors out there that Nicholas Hoult is still in the running. Honestly, I like Pattinson over Hoult a little bit, man. I think Hoult just doesn't seem... Like, Pattinson's kind of tall and broad-shouldered, that Bruce Wayne look. Holt's kind of scrawny. You know, yeah, he played Beast and X-Men and stuff, but I don't know.
I think Pattinson needs to gain 20 pounds of muscle mass.
No, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, no one liked Gal Gadot when she was announced as Wonder Woman. Everybody said she was too skinny, and she bulked up and did good.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
have you seen what she looked like in Fast and Furious?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was really skinny.
Real skinny.
So I'm willing to give Pattinson a chance and see what he can do with it. And I fully trust Matt Reeves. That's who I think is behind this. He comes from that J.J. Abrams school of getting it. You know, he knows what we want and what people want to see. So I'm keeping an open mind on this. You know, and see how it goes. You know, people knocked Affleck a couple years ago, and honestly, Affleck didn't do a bad job with what he had to work with. He just was never given really great stuff to work with.
Seems like the best Batmans are the ones that the fans are resistant, and the ones that the fans do support end up sucking, like Val Kilmer.
Yeah. Val Kilmer, yeah.
Yeah, and then George Clooney.
Yeah, George.
Those are the two that fans were like, oh, okay, we're cool with that.
Yeah.
And then they end up like...
He did have the Bat credit card. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not really. Okay. But, and rumors are that the Penguin and Catwoman might be the villains. And people immediately start thinking about Batman Returns. But, you know, I don't know if you can really consider that. There's so much you can do with Catwoman.
Penguin of all people?
Yeah, he's not my choice for villain. You know, I still would really love to see a great Riddler on screen. And Jim Carrey did what he did with the role. You know, it's a completely different time in filmmaking.
Oh, you mean his Joker?
You know,
Riddler?
Yes.
But I'd like to see a really great Riddler, especially if you're doing film noir detective, get inside the mind of Batman kind of thing.
I think it's mainly because of the Gotham TV series that gave Penguin the more of a name recognition.
I believe so too. So we'll see. The movie's coming out in 2021. So you know, they're starting casting now because I'm sure filming will start soon. So we'll see how Robert Pattinson. Is that how you say his name?
Pattinson.
So as long as he doesn't sparkle, right?
Yep.
They released a new trailer for an upcoming HBO series of his Dark Materials. And it stars Daphne Keane, the little girl from Logan.
Yeah.
And
nice.
And what's his name? The guy who plays Professor X.
James McAvoy?
Yeah, he's going to be taking up Daniel Craig's role. And then I forgot who
is that the Golden Compass was the movie, right? That they were trying to spin off into a franchise.
Right. Yeah, and
which was okay. It wasn't a great movie.
This one's more faithful to the book.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to see how Daphne Keane is in a different role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
HBO's got some good stuff. I didn't write on the news, but we can talk about it. But did you see the Watchmen trailer?
Yeah.
And actually, I don't know what to
I
think
didn't see
of it. It's like apparently it's like a prequel to Watchmen. But not the movie, just the books
It's set in
general.
modern times, though.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Like
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
It looks like it's post
But
1980s.
the trailer wasn't terrible though. I'm kind of keeping an open mind with it. You know, see what it does.
Yeah, we'll see.
You know,
I'm not a big fan of Damon Lindelof, as you all know.
yeah, that's right. He's writing that.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
yeah. I'm still mad at him for Prometheus.
but he gave us Lost, and I like Lost.
Yeah, that's cool.
What
Love the ending.
if instead of Lindelof we had Hasselhoff? Would that make you
What?
happier?
Hasselhoff.
No more whiskey, man.
Yeah, that's enough for me.
So, you know, it seems now, you know, we were getting this, we brought up Ghostbusters earlier. We're getting this Ghostbusters movie next year. It came out of nowhere. It seems like studios are kind of leaning towards doing more secretive stuff because of the internet. All of a sudden, James Wan is producing a Mortal Kombat movie. They have a director, and it starts shooting in September. It's like, this came out of nowhere yesterday.
Wow.
Really?
It's like, yeah.
Is he directing?
He's not going to direct. I guess he's just going to produce.
Yeah.
I guess casting's fully underway. It looks like it's going to be mostly unknowns, even though they're saying there are a couple of big names that are attached that they haven't announced yet. And I'm like, that seems to kind of, in the internet age, maybe this is a thing the studios.
I thought this was a joke because I saw like someone mock casting like Chris Pratt as Johnny Cage and
that was a joke.
Terry Crews as Jax, which I would like Terry Crews as Jax, but
you know, video game movies, you never know. But it just seems to be that might be the age we're in. You might get these movies that come out from these studios.
Check the Pikachu's the most successful video game movie.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'd rather see a Mortal Kombat reboot than I guess Chris Rock is going to reboot the Saw franchise. I'm like, why? Those weren't very good in the first place.
Chris Rock is going to reboot the Saw franchise?
Chris Rock all of a sudden has some production company he's trying to build, and I guess they're going to reboot the Saw franchise, but why?
I think Saw should have ended with maybe the second one.
Maybe the first one?
Well, it was a good... you know what it's based off of, right?
I mean, they weren't very good movies.
It's based off of a true story, but you know, because they're all basically based off of true stories. This guy, he had a device attached to his neck and he was left with a note saying that if he didn't rob a bank, that I remember seeing the story on the news. They segregated this guy in a parking lot because he robbed the bank like he was asked, and he's like, I had to do it. I have this bomb around my neck. I don't know how to get it off.
I remember seeing that in the news.
And his head exploded.
But my thing was like, now I've watched like the first 4 because the ex-wife was a fan, and I was honestly surprised with the amount of continuity that was in the movies, because I really thought that these were just trash. Well, they are trash films.
Yeah.
But I thought they were going to be real. But I was like, wow. And I think that was the most impressed I had. I was like, wow, there is actually continuity between the films, but they're terrible movies overall. You know,
I like the mock. Whenever they mocked it in Scary Movie 2, or was it 3? It was Scary Movie 3. So the beginning, Dr. Phil and Shaq are chained up, and Shaq has to make free throws to save his life. And he's like, and he's like, help me, Dr. Phil. He's like, I'm not even a therapist. I'm an electrician. I just tell people to get real. And I was like, this is friggin' hilarious.
Yeah. So we'll see. Star Trek Picard. That's the official title. So, are you pumped for this long?
I'm intrigued.
You know, it's going to be CBS All Access. Apparently, they may do like they did with Discovery, where they're going to air the pilot on CBS.
Yeah.
To entice people to subscribe.
I heard Discovery, the second season's done really well.
I want to watch it, man. I might have to illegally watch it because I just want to subscribe to something else. You know.
Yeah.
It's like I have enough, unless I know somebody has a CBS All Access account, then
Not
maybe,
me.
you know. But yeah, it's just like, but I'm sure it has its fans. I've heard it's really good, so I'm intrigued too by Jean-Luc Picard coming back. Patrick Stewart coming back as Jean-Luc Picard.
Patrick Stewart.
There are 4 lights.
Make it so.
And
Come to hell, Johnny.
and do either of you guys watch Rick and Morty?
No.
I started
I've
watching.
heard about it.
I think I've seen most of season 1, but I slacked.
They finally announced season 4 is finally coming in November after like almost 2 years.
Why do you like it?
Dude, I just think that it's I think it's genius in a lot of ways. Its jokes are funny to the point that they don't insult their audience, but yet, and then sometimes their jokes have to breathe a minute. You're like, oh, okay, and just there's speaking of continuity, there's just certain continuity to it. There's all kinds of theories out there about like you kind of have to watch the show, but I guess we can talk spoilers because the show's been how long. Like, there's an episode where Rick and Morty die, okay? But yet they come back because of a portal. So now there's all kinds of theories which Rick and Morty are the real Rick and Morty. They introduce all these multiverses out there where there's multiple Rick and Mortys. So there's a lot of people who believe now the Rick and Morty we're watching aren't even the Rick and Morty from the first episode. So there's all kinds of theories out there about it. It's ape shit crazy. There's all kinds of callbacks to various science fictions over the years. Just excellent voice work. It's just one of those shows you start watching, you really can't stop watching. You know, it's really smartly done.
Okay.
And if you're not watching Rick and Morty, it's worth giving a shot.
Yeah. Whatever you say, Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's the only line I know from Rick and Morty. Okay, whatever you say, Stone Cold Steve Austin, whatever you say.
That's funny.
So random. You know, it's like, I don't know. I'm afraid to get into some of those shows. Like Venture Brothers is another one.
Yeah.
And I can't get into that show.
Really?
You ever try watching Venture Brothers?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it either.
Yeah, I can't get into it.
The Monarch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rick and Morty, you got to get past the first season, man.
Yeah.
But it's really good, and
it spoofs.
There's only
pop
11 or
culture
12
or
episodes. Yeah, there's all kinds of pop culture stuff in it. Just Rick is a character that you're going to love to hate, but you're going to love to love.
Yeah.
You know, and Morty is just kind of there going along for the ride with his Grandpa Rick.
Because it looks like a spoof on Back to the Future.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a Back to the Future.
Oh, okay.
Definitely Back to the Future influences on it.
Yeah.
But well worth watching, man. If you're not watching Rick and Morty yet, you should be.
Yeah.
It's one of the best cartoons on television.
How many episodes per season?
Like 10 to 13.
Oh, that's not
So
bad.
not too bad.
Yeah.
Half hour?
Yeah, they're only half hour.
Oh.
And watch through the credits, because every episode has an end credit scene.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which sometimes they're important, sometimes they're not, just like the Marvel credit scenes.
Oh, okay.
That's kind of cool. Lastly, so a few weeks ago, Kathleen Kennedy said, we're taking a break from the Star Wars movies. Now, Bob Iger says, not so fast. You know, the Game of Thrones guys... Do you like that?
Not so fast.
The Game of Thrones guys are going to make their Star Wars movies after all, with the first one coming out in 2022, and 2024 and 2026. We don't know what they're going to be yet. All kinds of rumors on the internet, if you believe it. Could be Knights of the Old Republic type stuff. Who knows? You know, there's some backlash on this too, saying that because of the last season of Game of Thrones, are like, well, can these guys really write that well without source material? Because they had... these guys have a pretty good track record despite Game of Thrones. They've been writing for a long time. They've done a lot of TV work. So I think they'll be okay. And I think with the guidance of Disney behind them and Lucasfilm, I think they'll make some good Star Wars movies.
You know, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't mess around.
Right. And,
she's very protective.
And they're just writing. There's no directors attached yet or anything.
I thought Rian Johnson was...
Well, there was one rumor already that Rian Johnson might direct the first movie for them, because I guess his trilogy... he's still writing his trilogy, but it might be put on the back burner for now, so he might direct one of these movies for him. So we'll see where they go, but... you know, they announced that along with their Marvel schedule over the next few years, even though they didn't announce what Marvel movies they are. But apparently that's coming later this summer, possibly at Comic-Con. But I'm all for it, man. Bring me more Star Wars. You know, keep it coming. I'm okay.
Rest in peace, Star Trek movies.
Yeah, well, I think Paramount will bring them back around soon.
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of... Quentin Tarantino's... I don't know.
Quentin says he's still interested. I think he in a recent interview, he said, let me finish Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and we're going to go from there. So we'll see.
Nice.
You know?
Is he still sticking to his 10-movie mantra?
Yeah, but see, I don't think he's going to... I have a feeling he's not going to direct Star Trek. I think he's going to produce it.
Is he going to write it?
Yeah, I'd probably write it and produce it.
Okay, if he writes it, then that's fine.
So
the script is more important.
Yeah.
Really, if you got
I think
a competent
so.
director.
But, you know, I knew with Star Trek, when they got that cast together originally, it was such a good cast. It was going to be hard to keep them all together for multiple films.
And no more Chekhov.
Things are just different now than in the 80s when you're able to keep cast together.
Chris Pine bowed out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Zachary Quinto doesn't seem interested anymore, and it just seems like, unfortunate.
But the Spock for the second season is really good.
Yeah, I've heard he's good.
Yeah. He has that booming voice that Leonard Nimoy has.
Yeah.
He does, man. He has that deep...
Yeah, this other one, he was kind of very calm and quaint, and but very articulate.
Yeah, very tenor-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm showing multiple
Star Trek
emotions.
will live on in some way.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely not my Star Trek. I mean, it's more action-packed for sure.
Not my Star Trek.
Yeah.
It's not your grandpa's Star Trek lawn.
But Picard's coming back.
It's okay. We're going to be doing Star Trek in a few weeks. The J.J. Abrams one.
Oh, yeah.
Here, about 3-4 weeks away from that episode.
When are we doing Heavy
10th
Metal?
anniversary. The middle of June. 21st,
okay.
22nd, probably. Yes, and we're going to have a friend on that show doing
Heavy metal.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all the news I got. So, anybody got any news? Or otherwise, we preview next week's film?
We're gearing up towards the release of Godzilla.
Oh, yeah.
And I am very interested to hear some of the more casual moviegoers' impressions of the movie once it comes out. And then next week, or was it this week, we're releasing a bonus episode, a two-parter for the 10 worst Godzilla movies. And my friend, he says, 10 worst. Aren't all Godzilla movies considered worst? I just gave him a backhand. And
Backhand.
Be quiet.
Quiet, you.
Yeah, no. Just because they're not zombies. Come on.
Yeah, that will be the first of 3 bonus mini episodes.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be releasing the panel I did with Graham Nolan at Comicpalooza as a bonus episode too. So look for that. Probably you guys are getting this episode on Monday night. The Godzilla episode will probably drop on Thursday.
Yeah,
that sounds about right. To give the new episode a couple days to breathe. Put out the Godzilla episode on Thursday.
Yeah, and then I'll give you my 10 recommended Godzilla movies. If you're new, you want to check out the franchise, I'll give you my 10 personal favorites.
The French fries?
Yes, sir.
The franchise, not French.
Oh.
Anyway, never mind. We've lost
Kill
that.
you.
So,
Preview the goddamn movie.
So next week is Memorial Day in America, and that's where we celebrate our
America as we knew it.
Our soldiers that we have lost in battle, and we wanted to do a war movie
without bone spurs holding them back.
So we are going to.
Men.
We just did a Ridley Scott film a few weeks ago with the Alien, but we're gonna do another one, man. We're gonna talk Black Hawk Down from 2001.
You shouldn't have come here. This is our war, not yours.
300,000 dead and counting. That's not a war, Mr. Ito. It's genocide.
These people, they have no food. We can either help, or we can sit back and watch a country destroy itself on CNN.
Rangers, Deltas, today we go.
Name?
Blackburn.
Date of birth?
2/27/75.
I was trained to fight. You trained to fight, Sergeant?
I was trying to make a difference.
So guess what? You're going out today.
What?
It's what you wanted, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
Just remember when everybody else is shooting, shoot in the same direction. You ever shot at anybody before?
No, Sergeant.
Me neither.
Once that first bullet goes past your head, politics go right out the window.
Hey, baby, it's me. You there? Pick up if you're there.
I love you, baby.
RPG!
Hold on! 6 stars, go down! Black Hawk down. Black Hawk. My men are surrounded by thousands of Somali militia. I need help now.
Where's the rescue squad?
We're in.
I can't do it.
It's what you do right now that makes a difference.
People ask me, why do you do it, man? They want to understand it's about the men next to you.
Don't let that man crawl! Somebody help that man!
That's all it is.
No one gets left behind, you know that.
Nobody asks to be a hero. It just sometimes turns out that way.
This is a really good war film. It's based on recent history that happened in the 90s. I remember watching Black Hawk Down in theaters.
Yeah.
In theaters, and remember seeing some of that on television. I remember seeing the soldiers being carried on television and things like that. It was to me, the Black Hawk Down incident was one of those first wars that was really in your face. You know, the war in Somalia and all that. It was very much publicized in media, even more than Desert Storm was. And so it was an important time in our history that may have unfortunately led to other things like 9/11 and things like that. The battles in Somalia maybe have changed some of our ways we handled foreign policy. You know, as we went in there to kind of be police in a state where we maybe shouldn't have been, but we're not going to make it political. We're going to talk about the movie and what Ridley Scott did so well in this film, and some of the historical changes he may have taken. Because this is a movie with a hell of a fucking cast.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Eric Banya, man, you name it. Orlando Bloom, Josh Hartnett, Sizemore. I mean, just really, really good cast. A really good film. I saw it in theaters, and really, it's just a really good movie. It's action packed, but it also doesn't take time to appreciate the soldiers and the things they go through in this battle. So it should be a good one to talk about as we get maybe a little more serious next week on the Rebel Radio podcast instead of talking a funny movie like Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But that's okay. We can be serious now.
We can be serious.
Seriously serious.
Yeah.
So
Yarp.
So that's next week on the Rebel Radio podcast. Go to rebelradiopodcast.com as always and follow us on all apps and Twitter at Rebel Radio Pod, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Leave us a 5-star review. We appreciate it. And thank you for listening, as always, to the show. We can never thank you enough for that. That's what's most important is that you hear us, and we hope we have something good to talk about that you enjoy listening to. But that's all I've got. This has been Mark.
This has been Matt.
This is Long.
Until next time, remember, as always,
just go there and do it.
Do it or I'll kill you.
Whoa, violence.
This is Ming Chen from AMC's Comic Book Man. I love Houston. I love podcasting. But what I really love is the Rebel Radio podcast.
This is Chuck Huber. You're listening to the Rebel Radio podcast. Stop being so awesome.